Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
But even at that level, he could destroy all of us on his own if he wanted to. And we're ready to go.
Wow, there you go.
Welcome to Drum and Drummer.
Buzzed.
Absolutely buzzed, boy.
Buzzed. We won't say why.
No.
No.
Buzzed. I'll tell you why I'm buzzed, George. I'll tell you why I'm buzzed.
Yeah, go on.
You
Shoot.
said you've got something to tell me later. That'll wind me up.
Yeah.
And I'm chomping at the bit for that.
Well, it's almost like when I've told you about when I've been to an open mic and you get so annoyed because it's not your thing, you know. Are you going outside of your flat where there's people and you want to play drums, not for money, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not that vibe, but I feel like it's something that I've done and I might do it again. And you'll be like, why would anyone ever do that?
Sure.
There's so many reasons that you'll not want to do it.
Great.
But we'll get to that.
First of all, though, you're looking very autumnal.
Yeah, I've got my big fluffy jumper out again and
Big
a hat.
jumper and a hat, and it matches.
It does match.
The orange.
And also, can you see red trousers as well, boy? It's all red.
Wow.
Yeah,
So bright and
doing that. Yeah,
that's good because you're in a dark wank dungeon. Soundproofed. No one can hear.
Well, they can. That's the problem. Can't play drums till 5. But yeah,
that's annoying. So as I like to say, and I learned from my mother, the mothership.
Yeah.
You got to have things that pop.
Yes. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Your doors in your studio that are orange.
Yeah. For example, it's easier to change a cushion than to paint a wall.
Yeah.
So make your things that pop, things that are a little bit more disposable.
That's good.
Or easier to change. So you could change a dynamic very quickly and easily.
Yeah. Good housing advice there.
Yeah. And similarly, I guess you could sort of say, you know, keep the jeans t-shirt ensemble, keep that can work with many things.
Yeah.
And then make your hat pop.
Mm.
And then, but you can just quickly whip the hat off.
Yeah.
Mr. Neutral, hat back on, change hat.
It's a bit like people that dye their hair. That's what I don't mind not having hair because it's far easier. But when I see people who dye their hair every 6 months, you know, when their life's in a crisis and they go, I've got to dye my hair. I had a friend that used to do that. She'd have a breakdown and then dye her hair. And she was like,
I just need to be a new person.
Yeah, new me.
You can't change that.
No, didn't sort anything in her life.
No.
But her hair looked great. So, you know, all good stuff. Right.
What are you going to start with, boy? What are you going to start
Well, I don't
off?
know. I've got a lot of things to go through. First of all, I'll start with a bit of drum history. Trivia is not the word. Does trivia mean a question?
Trivia is, I guess, could be lumped in as facts, tidbits of knowledge.
Okay, it's trivia then.
Usually maybe presented with a question.
Okay. Well, let's do that. What do you think is the 4th snare beat on Beat It, the song by Michael Jackson? So you know it goes da 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 da.
Okay.
What
is that?
Yeah, what is that noise? I'll give you a clue. Noise? It's not a snare.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it a real thing? Like, is it a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's not
hit.
made on a computer. Is it what?
Is it like that? It's hit.
Yeah.
Is it hit
sort
by
of
something?
It's a noise that was recorded. Let's put it that way.
Is it something you'd find in the house?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'd say more likely in the shed.
More likely in the shed. Is it metallic inside?
Yeah.
Is it like a spade?
No.
Or a rake?
Smaller.
Smaller. Something you'd hold in your hand?
Yes.
Oh. Some sort of tool?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Some sort of tool. Would you use this tool to carry out some sort of DIY?
Yeah, definitely.
Some sort of trowel?
No.
A screwdriver?
No. Think Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know if you ever watched Top Gear. It would be the one tool that he'd use.
Oh. I've not really watched.
Oh, okay, maybe not.
What is it? Tell me. Let me know.
It's a hammer.
Ah.
So they were doing the recording of Beat It, and for 3 weeks, because they had this luxury, they were like trying to find the perfect snare hit. And MJ, we'll call him MJ, Michael Jackson, was like, I want something. I'm not going to do the voice.
I don't do the voice.
Don't do that.
If there's anything of his that you are going to do, it is the voice. But
and stop there.
Yeah.
The fourth snare hit, well, as in the fourth beat, there's the second snare hit of the bar. Basically, da, 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 that one, he wanted it different. And they were trying to find a snare. Then one day, an electrician or someone with tools, someone with a tool belt, I assume, went into the room and dropped his hammer on something. Dropped his hammer on like a piece of metal. And Michael Jackson was like, that's it, that's the sound. And it's the last one I'll do.
It is funny.
And he was like, that's the sound, that's what I want. And so that's what this noise is. So if you're listening to this podcast now,
and then the engineer was like, how the fuck do you mic that up?
Yeah, literally. More jobs for me. But if you're listening to this pod, feel free to pause it and listen to Beat It by Michael Jackson and listen to that snare, which isn't a snare, it's a hammer. So there you go. Bit of fun drum trivia for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I was expecting more, but no, good.
No,
Moving
okay.
on.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I don't need a response. I'll just,
Yeah.
I got
no response and go, yeah, it was okay. It was a hammer. Yeah. I don't know whether because I sort of do it for a job, so that sort of thing doesn't surprise me, or whether I'm just jaded by that sort of trivia.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
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 But it's nice to know those things, isn't it? Because then you can tell them to people and seem like you know about music. Right. Let's move on. Well, actually, what have you got going on?
What have I got going on? Well, the album that I've been working on since January.
Oh, yeah.
It's finished, mate. I've done it.
Nice. Nice.
Finished at the end of October. So, yeah, all went well.
Mm-hmm.
Very good to have it sort of done. But straight on with the next record.
Yeah.
I've got 2 EPs already in the pipeline, so get cracking on them. But I tell you what, boy.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know if I mentioned, but I bought a Lego set in summer.
Oh yeah.
And I said to myself, I'm not gonna build it till I finish the album. I finished the album. I built the Lego.
How long did it take you? How many pieces?
Just under 4,000.
Ooh, what's that? 3 nights with
took me like
10 movies at the same time.
Took me possibly 20 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So, over 3 days, over sort of a long weekend, but it's good. Yeah.
Nice.
So, carrot reward, innit?
That
sort of
this
thing.
is it.
So that's what I've been doing.
Nice. I had a gig the other night on Monday night.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? No, Sunday
on
night.
Monday? No, Sunday.
Sunday. Do you want to hear about this? This was This was a lovely gig. So it was with Dean's band, the 80s band, but they also did, it was 45 minutes 80s, which I've done a lot, and then 45 minutes of Bowie songs, because they also have a Bowie tribute band. And that was fun in itself, because I had to learn 45 minutes of Bowie tunes. And that was, it's nice to learn some new songs. What do you mean, who was booking it?
Like, who wants that?
Oh, well, so this hotel we played at, they put on themed weekends, and this weekend was an 80s themed weekend. But as Dean said, they should have just gone all 80s, but they wanted Bowie and 80s. So, and I think they played there before, because on the drive up...
So could you only do Bowie stuff from the 80s?
No. No, that's why it's
contradicting themselves.
Well, this is it, but that's what they asked.
I think I've heard this song's from 1979.
Yeah,
I played for an
they
80s
said,
weekend.
Well, that's what they said, because
last time
they said it, they said, you know, oh, we want 80s and Bowie. And everyone was dancing to the 80s. Huh?
Was it at Old Thorns?
No.
Okay.
There are other hotels. It's not just your residency thing you did and can't get over the fact that
No,
it
I did see a picture
anymore.
and I thought, oh, it looked a bit similar.
No, it was, yeah, big room. But the nice thing was, amazing food, a massive buffet, huge buffet. On the way up,
like Old Thorns.
they were like, there's other hotels. So, yeah, delicious food before the gig. And then the gig was great. I got to play some Bowie songs, and it was that thing again.
What was your favourite one to play?
Good question. Ziggy Stardust is good. There's a lot going on there. Least favourite is probably Space Oddity, because that's so sparse. If you listen to a lot of songs from the 70s, the drums are a bit sort of sparse, and there's no real snare, and there's nothing driving it. So you have to go, well, what do I play? You know, it's like the chorus will just be like a ride cymbal, and you're like, I'm going to need a bit more impact. Yeah, I mean, there's some classics. Rebels, just easy. It's just one beat. But lovely gig, you know. I was sort of like, if they could be more like this, that would be nicer function gigs. You know, it was a proper stage and a proper sound man and proper food, you know what I mean? And a proper dressing room and all those bits and bobs that are lost on the usual function gig. But that was a nice night. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The one thing that I liked about it, though, was, I've said it before, I think it's something you take for granted, or maybe not, is that I can just, you know, fortunate enough to play with these badass players who know all the songs well, and I can just come in and play the songs with, you know, no rehearsal. I love that. 45 minutes of Bowie songs. And there was a little discussion about how did the songs that fade out end. But other than that, it's just, okay, George, we trust that you've learnt the songs. If you haven't, then you're dead to us. And yeah, it's just nice, isn't it? It's nice to, sometimes it's just normal. But then when I think back to when I worked at your studio, and it was like you'd hear bands rehearsing one song for 3 hours. And you're like, I'm glad I'm not in that anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I had
good evening.
A band in rehearsing the other week, and I was packing up the room as they were leaving. And I've known him for a little bit through the studio, and, you know, he said, oh, how many bands are you in? I said, oh, well, I'm in 3 wedding bands. He was like, oh, 3. We find it hard to just fit the rehearsal time in for one band. I went, oh, well, we don't rehearse. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I did 2 rehearsals about 10 years ago. And then we just sort of... And it blew their mind, absolutely blew their mind. And it's like, yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I was trying really hard to not sound cocky when I was saying it. Well, that's the difference between you and me.
Well, no, I mean, amazing. It's professional, you know.
No, it is.
It's professional, and that's what happens. And I think there's a discourse between, I think, with lots of things that require skill.
Yeah.
Of actually, people don't realise how wide the gap actually is.
No, yeah.
And it's the same with football. I think it's the same with football.
Yeah, you said this,
Like, you watch a lot of football and you see it and you go, oh, that was shit. I played football once with an ex-Premier League player. And he was 40. He was in good shape. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
How good he was.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's 40. And he was a player that fluctuated between the lower Premier League and the Championship. Darren Huckabee, if you're asking. The Huckabee zone. So he wasn't even good enough to play for like a top half team. Let alone then be good enough to then play for England.
Yeah.
But even at that level, he could destroy all of us on his own if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think I saw something on Reddit as well. It was like, oh, like, why don't, you know, like people in orchestras, like, do they just not ever play anything wrong? Like, almost confused. How can they be so good? And so I was like, no, they're just really good.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realise how good people are.
Yeah.
And I think on some level it can be the sort of same. I think some people don't realise how to do what we do. And yes, it is weddings and all that sort of shit, whatever the level. But even to just do that, you got to be good.
Yeah.
You got to be certain level, ain't you?
You do.
Where you can jump into a gig without doing a rehearsal.
Yeah.
And not only play it right, but play it well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well done.
And I remember,
well done.
cheers. I remember a comedian saying it once. He said if he has a bad show or a good show, the audience won't know. He says he could have the worst show he's had in a few years or the best show, but it'll be the same because they're so close to each other. Like a bad show for him is still like, you know, amazing, and a good show for him, to the audience, you know. So it's like, yeah, because I you know, I've seen pub bands and bands play, and you sort of go, there's so much going wrong here, you know, like just musically, but everyone's dancing, and that's something I always remember. Like if I do something wrong or something goes wrong, it's like nobody knows, you know. And it's like, and it's funny, it makes it funnier, do you know what I mean? I love when someone does something wrong, because it's like, it sort of relaxes me, because you go, we are all, this is okay, we're human, you know. It's like, it's funny when someone plays a wrong note, you know. Right, I've got other stuff to talk about.
Cool.
Should we do the drum dumpster?
Let's do it now, boy. Yeah, we're reopening the old dumpster.
What the hell is that? You got tossed into the right dumpster.
Right, this is something James Gillingham put on his
Big Gilly.
his Instagram story,
Big Gilly style.
and I was like, that's mad.
Willy.
Go on, two more.
No, that's it. Done.
And he was like, yeah, you should put it on the pod. So I was like, definitely. So we've been talking a lot about e-kits, electric kits, and, you know, quieter ways to play the drums if you've got a flat or whatever. And he put this one up. We'll start with the price tag. I mean, I found it on a site. I think the one he posted was even more, but the one on this site is £9,299. It's quite a lot of money for anything. I mean, unless you're buying an aeroplane or a helicopter or a house, if something's $9,000, you're going to be like, that's a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's sizable purchase, akin to a car.
Yeah. You could buy two cars. You could buy, my car was free. You could buy 3 of my cars or this kit. So, I mean, I haven't really looked at it too much, but it just looks like they've made an electric kit which is the closest and, I don't know, closest to an acoustic kit. I mean, in terms of sizes, in terms of looks, if you look at it, it looks like just a normal, you know. It's just funny, innit? I don't really have much to say other than it's very expensive, and the lines are so blurred now that it's, I don't know. It's almost like, who's buying that? I think that's my question. Who is buying that?
Doctors and solicitors who play in a pub band.
Yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah, so I think I'm just having a little quick skim through. So it's an acoustic kit, right? You know, it's got shells,
It's got rims and lugs.
it's maple shells, and what it says here, it's real maple shells that are effortlessly swappable between natural acoustic and explorative electronic modes. How is it done? By the way of DWE's included swappable acoustic and electronic drum heads and top-tier cymbal pack. But, I mean, it seems like you can just... Like, it's got wireless... like, electronics in it.
Yeah.
So it's got wireless triggers, Drumlink wireless hub, and so like, it looks mental.
It does look mental.
And I guess you can, I don't know. I just don't know, George. What is it? We've
I know.
not done our homework.
No, I haven't.
Clearly.
I sent it to you at 10:29. We started at 10:30. but I think in
I
a
did
nutshell,
pose the question. I posed the question,
Yeah.
didn't I? Is someone gonna make that sort of kit?
Yeah.
And maybe not to this degree. I didn't think it would be to this degree.
No.
But I guess you can just put normal skins on, play it like a normal kit. Then you can put the electronic skins on. It's got triggers built in. It's wireless. And then you can connect it to something and choose your electronic sounds. I mean, it seems like there's like a DW Soundworks, which looks like a sort of MIDI library that you can probably access on an app or a computer.
Yeah.
Mental.
Well, there we go. If you've got £9,000, that could be the kit for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a 4-piece one for $7,700. So, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with the cymbals. What's going on with the cymbals?
Cymbals are a bit weird.
Are they like? Oh look, the hi-hat's got. They got like pads underneath. Oh, this is weird, isn't it? It's making me feel uneasy.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's keep the pace up.
DWE cymbal packs. So they're weird. They're special cymbals as well. But anyway, yeah, we'll put a link. But have a look, and if you're incredibly wealthy,
Yeah.
get one. See
Yeah.
what happens.
See what happens.
But that's interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, James, for.
Yes. We seem to have a little bit of feedback from the last episode.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Josh
good.
and James and Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew there was one other person. Sorry, Connor. You're not less important, but
you are tall.
But you are bloody tall. Right. I got 2 more bits. Well, 1 more bit, and then I got the surprise bit, which might wind you up. Have you ever heard of Lewis Bonfire Night?
Lewis Bonfire Night? No.
Oh my God, it's insane. So I first heard about it when I moved to Brighton. So Lewis is just up from Brighton, and they have bonfire societies there.
Of course they do.
Yep, of course they do. And it's so cultish. And I'll put some videos up on Instagram. But I've been there before, and basically you go to Lewis, and they close all the roads, and then the bonfire societies walk through the streets with like fire and those like firework thing, like firecracker things that go off, and there's like a procession of just all of them, and it's mental. And there's no real health and safety. Like there's a lot of police there, but it's sort of like it's very pagan-esque. It's very like old-fashioned. And but I've been there twice. I went in 2013 and 2015. And I sort of just got there, watched the parade, and then that was it. But a friend of mine from work said, go to this field in Lewis, and then you can see the bonfire at the end. Because obviously the parade has to go somewhere. So it all ends up at the biggest bonfire you've ever seen. And it was mental. It was about, I don't know how high this bonfire was.
How many drum kits high?
200 drum kits high. I don't know. It was massive. It was like we were sort of looking at it going, how did they even build that? But then at the end, they all have their fire sticks, and they all throw their fire sticks onto this bonfire. And then they needed to give it a bit of help. I think they secretly threw some petrol on from the back, and we didn't see, because suddenly it just went up, and then they had fireworks displays. But it's weird because it's all rooted in like tradition of like, I don't know, hating like a certain, I don't say a group of people, but like say it's like if there's a political figure that they don't like, they'll burn them or something. You know, it's a lot of that. And but yeah,
who were they burning this year?
Rishi Sunak, obviously. Yeah, it's you know, it's what they do.
Was it actually?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
oh,
I don't know if I got a picture of that, but there was. Yeah, I think every year they just find their most hated, you know, political figure.
Tory politician.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Mad Night. Right, I'm going to end with.
I'll just quickly, because you know, I don't know if you saw my face while you were describing what was happening, but I didn't seem shocked, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go on.
I grew up in Titchfield.
Yeah. Oh, is that the same sort of vibe?
Titchfield Bonfire Society.
Oh, really?
The Bonfire Boys. Titchfield Bonfire Boys.
Yeah.
That Anne was chairman of for a good few years.
I love it. So she knows all about it.
Every year in October, in October half term, there was Titchfield Carnival.
Yeah.
Where they'd close all the roads.
Yeah.
And then people would dress up and make floats.
Yep.
Things like that, like you know, like you see on Thanksgiving parades and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd parade through the village, do a big loop in the afternoon, then you'd do it again in the evening, and then there'd be a bonfire in the field. And then there'd be like fireworks, and there was always like a fun fair by the old travellers.
Yeah. So you know all about it then?
And there was always a big fight. There was always a fight.
Oh, was there?
Down at the fun fair, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And then it kind of, you know, let's say in the 90s, health and safety was probably a little bit lax. And then classic, couldn't get the fun anyway, so I think it was going about 120 years.
Yeah.
It was like a real proper, wasn't a bigger bonfire as what you're describing, and we definitely didn't burn effigies of prominent political figures. No. But then I think they had to stop for a few years because funding, it was just cost too much to get security and all that sort of stuff, because it got a little bit rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up in that.
Well, I'm glad then you know all about it. Yeah, they try and keep the riffraff out by saying don't come, but obviously that's a great tactic to make people go, well, obviously I want to come now. But they, you know, this year they stopped all the trains and buses in and out of Lewis, so it's like, you know, if you wanted to get there,
it was a local thing for local people.
Exactly. But thankfully I work in Lewis, so got to park there and then just walk in. Right, I'm going to end with this. So the other night, Friday night, Elfie and I went to a cèilidh. Do you know what a cèilidh is?
Yeah, Irish sort of thing, isn't it?
Let me describe it to you. So you turn up, there's all these people, it was like a church, but it felt like it was in a barn. There's a band on stage. There's no drummer. It's just sort of like Scottish little instruments, like a mandolin and a flute and things like that. And there's a woman on stage. There's a woman on stage, and she describes how you do the dances. So she's got a mic, and she goes, right, so this dance, you'll need a partner, so go out with your partner. And everyone's there mostly as a couple, but some people have come on their own.
Did Elfie pick you, or did she find someone else?
She went, oh, no, this is my my excuse to find someone else. Oh, fuck, he wants to go with me again. But you have to hold hands with strangers, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll be like, right, we start this dance, so you start with your partner, and then you'll go into a circle, so just hold hands with the person you're next to. Any thoughts so far?
Building them up.
Yeah.
I'm building them up. Yeah,
and
keep going.
And then it will be like, say there'll be like one where it's like you have to be in a group of 8 and you're with your partner, but then they'll be like, right, and then what you do is you detach from your partner and you go and find someone else to dance with. And and it's mental. So you're in a room with like 200 people, just all locals from the area. And
200?
It was about that. It was a lot of people. And then you just go off in this room while there's like and you're like trying to find, and then you end up paired with, you know, anyone, an old woman, a young man, could be anyone, and then you have to link arms and then dance around and then find like another group, and then sometimes you end up back with your partner, sometimes you end up lost. At one point, Elfie and I, we had to get into be in our partner thing, and then go and find 2 other people, but we couldn't find 2 people, so we ended up on our own, which was highly embarrassing. But yeah, would you ever go to that?
Right, some questions.
Yeah, go on, shoot.
At what point did the fucking start?
Immediately after the first dance.
Okay, question. What? I mean,
you don't even have to have questions.
Why?
Why? Good question. I mean, it is quite sweet in a way. You know, you sort of dancing with people.
I want to know
funny.
what's the process though? What's the thought process to you of arriving at this cèilidh?
Oh, I was scared. So
no, but who knew about it? Who found out about it, and who went?
So it was all Elfie's doing. She's been to them before, and she didn't know that they were held in Brighton. There was one like 10 minutes from our house. She was like, "Oh, I gotta go." My thought process. So her thought process was.
So she approached you and said, "George,
we're going to this cèilidh." Yeah.
Right. Okay. She didn't ask. She said she.
No, I think she did ask, but it was also like no. She did say you don't have to come, but I you know, I'm open to new things. I was like, let's see what happens. But I was very aware that I am going to have to dance with strangers, and I was well aware that it was going to be like, okay, now go and find someone else to dance with, and I was a bit worried about that, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll say there was a
Okay.
lot of boyfriends there with girlfriends that had dragged them along who were in the same boat. So that was quite funny. I end up dancing with
them.
and they were like, what?
Just
what?
8 lads.
Yeah,
in a
they'd be like,
circle
what's...
going, fuck, you know.
No, they'd go, what's the next step? How do I do this? I'm like, I don't know. And we just end up laughing.
Just rainbow rhythms.
Yeah. It's that kind of vibe.
Okay, what time did it start?
8. It started at 8.
What time did it finish?
Well, there was 2 sets, basically. And it got to 9:30, and that was the end of the first set, and we left. But it was on till like 11, because that was enough. I felt like we'd done an hour and a half of...
Yeah, it's a football match.
Yeah. And then we went to Mackey's, just to balance it out a bit. But balance out the folklore and the modern takeaway. But yeah, I mean, you know, if ever I could pick something that I'd go to and you'd not go to, I think cèilidh is up there.
I think most things.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm not going to belittle you for going.
No.
Fair play. Fair play. You know, you're what helps the world move. You know, and I'm just building Lego.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say, you know, that's what's good though, because I was thinking about this after I did it. I was like, I'm going to talk about this on the pod. And I thought, wouldn't it be boring if the podcast was me saying I went to a cèilidh and you went, oh, that's great, mate. Tell me about it. You know, fuck that. You know, I'm glad that you were like, when did the fucking start? Because adds a bit.
No,
of
it just interested me because you know I'm not that way inclined. I'm not.
No,
I don't seek that sort of thing out. I don't wanna go to that sort of thing. I'm very comfortable.
You know all the things
being at
you
home,
like.
building Lego,
Yeah,
and playing PlayStation, which I absolutely love.
yeah.
People get different things out of this thing we call life. And no, fair play, mate. But again, get yourself tested.
Yeah.
It's probably absolutely rampant.
Do you know what I did? I did wash my hands after going, so I'm not fully invested in the whole folklore life. You know, I was like quick hand sanitizer after that. I touched 20
everywhere.
strangers. Yeah. So right. We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, let's get going. We're gonna record a guest soon, so better bounce. But lovely to see you, George.
Yeah, you too. And
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And email, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Get in touch. Yeah, let us know. What do you like? What do you know? Have you ever been to a cèilidh? Are you part of a secret bonfire society that burns effigies? Would you ever, if you were to build an effigy of one of us to burn, who would it be and why?
Yeah. I like that bit. You're getting good at those.
I'm trying.
They're cool.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.